Hi guys, welcome. Let's talk Carl Froch, saying he's the third British fighter of all time. Um, I think that's a joke, mate. I mean, I'm going to give you my top five today, guys. I'd love to hear yours. I'm only going to give you fighters I watched growing up, fighters I have a lot of knowledge on. I mean, I hate when people say this guy's the greatest. They wasn't even born when they were fighting. They never watched it back then. So I'm just going to give you my top five from what I watched. But Carl Froch, to say he's the third best ever, is a joke. I mean, the guy is so big headed, it's unbelievable. Yeah, he beat George Groves in front of 80,000. That he says in every sentence, guys. He talks as if George Groves was Floyd Mayweather or someone. I like George Groves, but let's be honest, guys. He was a B level fighter at best, right? And Carl Froch went on to fight Kessler, lost. Calzaghe done a number on Kessler. Froch kept calling out Calzaghe when Calzaghe said, I've had enough. He got out when he had to. Um, he took on Andre Ward, moaned about the fight. Guys, it's a fight. Yeah, it's a fight. There was no cheating going on there. He kind of acts as if it was a cheat. He got boxed up, guys. But for me, he don't make the top five. He's not even close to the top five. But anyway, guys, I'm gonna get on with my top five here. Starting with fifth, Nassim Hamed. What a legend, guys. One of the most entertaining fighters of all time. Whether you liked him or hated him, you wanted to watch him. 36 wins, 31 coming from knockout as well, guys. Big puncher. Just that one loss to the Mexican legend and Marco Antonio Barrera, who for me is, for everyone, he's a legend, Hall of Famer. The reason I got him fifth, guys, is because he lost to a fighter that was the best fighter he ever fought. Let's be honest, Barrera was the best fighter he ever fought. And he never come for that rematch, guys. I was waiting for that rematch. I waited up to 4 5 a.m. and watched this fight. And believe me or not, guys, I'm not always right about boxing, but I fancied Barrera. He just looked like a killer. Them fights with Morales, just brutal fight. Just punch, like a Rocky film. And he just looked so confident as well. Throughout the whole build-up, he looked so confident. Sorry. A friend of mine always says it. A lot of people say it. Nassim Hamed wasn't training well. He wasn't in, he didn't care anymore. I think that's excuses, guys. I think he was well beat. I know he had one fight after this again, and he didn't look great. He won on points. And I think he got out when he had to. Would have loved to have seen him go on, though. Like most people, would have loved to have seen that rematch and see if he could have done something. And I think if he would have went on, beat Barrera and went on, we could have been saying this guy's number one. Not just number one in Britain, one of the best ever. But anyway, guys, going on to my number four, someone I watched growing up on TV, actually someone that got me into boxing, not just my father getting me into boxing, but watching Chris Eubanks. Maybe, I know I call my channel unbiased, but this is a little biased, but I do think he deserves it. Top four for me, Chris Eubanks. At one point, I think he was about 40-0, and then he lost to Steve Collins. I was gutted, guys. I remember watching this fight, and that Steve Collins just kept coming for him. I remember the second fight the rematch being a lot closer, and I thought Eubanks won. And I haven't watched that fight back, and that's the truth. I remember watching that as a kid. I was gutted, man. But maybe I'll watch it again one day and see what I think. But he at that point 40 or no, let's have a look. He was 41-0 and then lost to Steve Collins, and then lost again to Steve Collins. I know he had some great fights with Nigel Benn. One of them I think was a draw which a lot of people thought Ben won. I think even myself, I thought Ben done enough to win it. But I think in his day, he would have gave anyone a fight. I mean, iron chin. He then went on to fight Calzaghe. You know, we don't have to say anymore. One of the best ever. And lost to a young Calzaghe when he was more coming to the end of his career. And then he lost to Carl Thompson twice. And he went up to like cruiserweight. It was well unfair to fight. You know, he wasn't as big as him. And like I said, Eubanks' chin, iron. You know, any people like Carl Froch, he had a good chin, but guys, in his day, for me, Chris Eubanks would have done a number on him. You know, he was tough as nails. I know Froch was, but for me, he was just a better fighter. Finished up on, what did he finish up on? 40, 45, 23 knockouts. I thought he was a bigger puncher. I remember him being a bigger puncher than that. The 5 losses and 2 draws. For me, number 4. Going on to number 3. There's only one Ricky Hatton. For me, guys. For me, legend. And I tell you what, 45 wins, just 3 losses. Let's forget about the 3rd loss when he made a return and got body shot and couldn't get up. That wasn't the Hatton we remember. But if you look at his record, 45 wins, 32 knockouts. The 2 losses he had, if we're not talking about that last loss where he come back, Floyd Mayweather, one of the best ever. Some people say the best ever, not for me, but some people say it. And arguably the best ever, Manny Pacquiao, for me. 8 world titles, fought everyone. We ain't got to get into Manny Pacquiao, but you guys know how it is. Them 2 losses, guys, if Ricky would have won them, right, he lost to 2 of the greatest of all time. If he would have beat them 2, we wouldn't be saying is he the best in Britain. We'd be saying, we could have been saying one of the best ever, if not the best ever. Maybe not the best ever, but definitely the best in Britain, and one of the best of all time, without a doubt. The Mayweather fight, I remember watching it. I thought, I did think Hatton's going to have a good go here. He was doing all right. There was a lot of, Hatton said it himself, we're not going to make excuses here, guys. He lost to the better guy. Floyd was faster, but there was a lot of holding in that. And then the knockout was just beautiful. Floyd didn't knock out too many people near the end of his career, or the last good couple of years, we should say, not the end of his career. The last good couple of years before he retired, didn't knock anyone out. And that hook, he said, the check hook, where Ricky walked into it, was beautiful. And the fight with Pacquiao, I thought it was going to be better, but we all knew then that was Pacquiao who Floyd wanted nothing to do with. No one wanted nothing to do with this Pacquiao. He was just stone cold killer, hungry. Freddie Roach saying he was sparring 20 or 24 rounds, just offering the sparring partners $1,000 if they knocked Pacquiao down. He was smashing everyone, man. And Ricky Hatton got absolutely annihilated, guys. I mean, that knockout was career ending. That's basically what did happen. Just fought a better guy, guys. That was it. He just fought a guy that was arguably the best of all time. But like I said, guys, if we would have won them fights, we'd be talking number 1 without a doubt. Going on to my second best ever, Lenn Lewis. 41 wins, 32 knockouts, 2 losses, 1 draw. Olympic gold medal for Canada, funny enough, not for Britain. But I think Lenn Lewis, in his day, I mean, he's going to give anyone a run for their money. I mean, you can argue he fought a prime Holyfield. Holyfield then was just tough as anything. And he beat him. First fight, a draw, which he won. Next fight, he got it. Undisputed champion. Fought everyone, unlike the fighters today. Let's be honest, guys. Some people are going to say, you got a thing against Tyson Fury. I ain't got nothing against Tyson Fury. but he doesn't want to fight anyone, guys. Lenn Lewis fought everyone. Let's be honest. I mean, yeah, he fought a finished Mike Tyson. I mean, for me, if he fought Mike in his day, it's going to end for him. Because if anyone remembers Lenn Lewis when he fought Bruno, he knocked Bruno out, but Bruno had his moments. You know, it was a fight. If you watch that fight back, it was a fight where it could have went either way. If Bruno just caught him, we know he was a bit chinny. That would have been it. The 2 losses as well, he refensed, and I think that's one of the hardest things to do, guys. When you lose, mentally it must be difficult to go back in there and try and beat a man that's already beat you. So, Lenn Lewis for me, I think is justified number 2. I know some people are going to think, Tyson Fury, you're biased. He should be on it. I don't know, guys. I don't see him or Joshua or any of them on this list for me. Not right now. You never know. If they go on and they win loads of fights, you never know. But for me right now, they're not on there. And I do think Lenn Lewis in his day does a number on all of them, guys. And I wasn't even a fan of Lenn Lewis, funny enough. And you guys might think I was. I'm not even a fan. Me putting him 2 is just being honest. I wanted Mike to do him that day. And you guys know, like, I'm not just saying British fans, but we're very passionate for our fighters. We support our fighters always. And that night, I wanted Mike to do him. I knew Lennox was going to beat Mike Tyson then. It wasn't the Mike Tyson, from the past. But, like I said, I'm putting him there because he deserves to be number 2. Number 1, for me, since watching boxing, Joe Calzaghe, best British fighter I've watched, most underrated fighter I've seen in boxing. Like, for me, in history. I mean, he never got any credit, guys. Like, 0 credit. Like, what does the guy have to do? He 46 wins, 32 knockouts. Fought everyone, holding the belt for just forever. He had the belt for so long. Some people are going to say, he fought an old Bernard Hopkins. So what? After he fought Hopkins went on about another 6-7 years. I can't think who he beat. Was it Pascal or someone? After Calzaghe, he had a big win where he was an underdog too. And got his belts back and stuff. He honestly, this man never got any credit. And why? And one thing I'll give Froch the other day, he did rate Joe Calzaghe as number 1. Which I was quite surprised about, actually. Because I know they had a bit of beef back in the day. So for him to rate Calzaghe number 1, I rate him. And the thing with Calzaghe, guys, he had a funny kind of technique. It did look a bit like he learnt from a kid, like a bit slappy and never changed his technique. But it worked for him, guys. I mean, he never stopped hitting someone. Never stopped hitting someone. And the times he did get put down, he got up. I remember the Jeff Lacey fight. And Jeff Lacey was favourite. Undefeated, massive puncher, dangerous. And honestly, Joe Calzaghe ended his career that night. We know he went on after that, but he wasn't the same. Their corner was saying he's going to punch himself out. Did they not ever watch Joe Calzaghe in videos? This guy did not get tired. I don't know what he did in training, but he was special, guys, like that. Probably the hardest thing in boxing is to, keep that high punch rate out and not punch yourself out. But Calzaghe never ever punched himself out. He just could punch and punch and punch and hit you and hit you and hit you, and he'll just take your soul in there. And I think, like, for me, Andre Ward would have got smoked by Joe Calzaghe. Froch didn't have it, but Joe Calzaghe, I think, in his day, beats anyone. Could you imagine Joe Calzaghe for someone like Canelo now? A man that gasses out after a few rounds and shouldn't be in that weight division. He would get smashed, guys. Honestly, he never dodged anyone. He was a big guy. Like I said, relentless with his punches. For me, is honestly, growing up, one of my heroes. And I give him so much credit where he just don't get the credit, guys. But maybe because he didn't talk up enough. Sometimes this boxing is whoever's got the biggest mouth brings people in, and that's the truth, guys. You've got a big mouth, brings in money. But honestly, guys, Joe Calzaghe, for me, best British boxer of all time. I'm going to leave it there, guys. I would love to hear your top 5. Obviously, I can only talk from around the early 90s, sort of Eubanks time, because that's when I started watching boxing and getting deep into it. I was a kid actually at the time, so that's, when I got into sport and stuff. But I'd love to hear from you. I know there was fighters before. A lot of people rate Barry McGuigan and stuff. I've seen some of them old fights, but like I said, when you don't grow up and you don't watch the build-ups and watching the fight live, I don't know, you don't really know the fighter. I know you can rewatch them back, but you don't have that passion for it. But like I said, anyway, guys, love to hear your top 5. Do you think Carl Froch should be in the top 5? Do you think he shouldn't? Do you think Tyson Fury should be here? Do you think Anthony Joshua should be there, etc.? I'd love to hear it. But anyway, guys, as always, appreciate you listening to this. And until next time, take care.